Hello, YouTube Nation. This is Tony Charade, and I'm actually going to start something new here today or tonight while I'm filming this. It's going to be a little bit of a series I'm going to do from time to time, and it's going to be called My Thoughts On. And what I'm going to do is actually give you my thoughts on a particular band or solo artist that I really love. And how I actually got into their music and kind of the journey that I went through with this band as the time went along. And just kind of, some of it's going to be in chronological order, and there's going to be some bands that I am really into, and I'm working on some, just kind of getting things kind of sorted out in my head how I want to word it because I don't really write things down on paper. Uh, but some of the bands I'm actually going to do this to are going to be like Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Hailstorm, Avenged Sevenfold, Metallica, some of the heavier bands, and some of the pop bands that I'm actually into as well. Because you know on my channel I actually have some pop stuff. I have a little bit of country. So the first band I'm actually going to cover is going to be called The Warning. And this is going to be an interesting one because this one came out of the blue. Uh, I've basically heard about this band, The Warning, at about a year right before I saw them live for the first time. They kind of just popped up on my YouTube thing as a kind of couple of videos to watch. And the one video that they did was their full remake, not the jam session that they did in the 2013 or 20 something like that. They did a cover of them in their basement, but no, this was the actual remake that they did for the Metallica's Black Album 30th anniversary edition. So I listened to that and I thought it was intriguing. It was weird at first because it was nothing like the original. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? And I was just about ready to turn it off. And I just kept going, well, let me just figure out what the hell these girls are trying to do here. So as the video got going along, I'm going, oh, well, this is actually quite good. It's totally different, but quite good. So I started listening to it. I kind of got into just a couple other songs. And then shortly after that, they announced, or Hailstorm announced, or somebody announced that they were going to be part of this tour that was being put on in 2023. Headlining was going to be Hailstorm. Support was going to be from the Pretty Reckless, The Warning, and the other band that was on there, Lilith Czar. So I decided, well, okay, I'm a big Hailstorm fan, so I'm going to go check this out. So I got there plenty early because I like to check out all the bands. I'm not going to be like one of these people that will not check out opening bands and only want to check out the headliner. So first up was Lilith Czar. Really good. I thought, she had a couple songs that just really kind of got me, like 100 Little Deaths were good. And the next band that comes up is, well, okay, I'll go ahead and leave that till the very last. The Pretty Reckless were supposed to be on that bill, but one of them actually tested positive for COVID. So it was basically a three-band bill. It was going to be Lilith Czar, The Warning, and Hailstorm. Well, Hailstorm put on one hell of a good show. But this is where I have to kind of like go off on Hailstorm and actually go back to The Warning because I'm making this video about The Warning. And I'll get on Hailstorm another time. I'm going to make it. But anyway, I started watching it. And as you know, I film everything I go to. So I didn't know very much of The Warning stuff except for maybe like 2 or 3 songs. So I'm like, well, if you're going to prove yourself live. And then we'll go from there. So right off the bat, they did something that I thought was just really weird. They had the opening song as being a song that was sang by the drummer. And I'm just like, well, that's just weird. You got a three-piece, and you got this other girl that can sing, but the drummer's doing the lead. In fact, whenever I was filming it, I was kind of like thinking to myself, okay, eventually I'm gonna have to go over to the lead singer, Daniela, you know. But no, it was just the drummer singing for the most part, and I'm just like, well, this is just weirdly, interestingly cool, you know. So I filmed it, and I'm like, okay, and I filmed the whole entire freaking set because I thought they were just really good. They had one song, and it's kind of like the weirdest song that I really don't like. Yeah, it's called Z, but the rest of it was just really kind of good stuff. They have one song was called Choke, and the other one was called Money, and of course they did their Enter Sandman cover, which was phenomenal. And they only had one song in the whole entire set that I really didn't care too much for, and but the rest of it was just so good. I'm just like, all right, they have chops. The guitar player is good. The drummer is insanely good. The bass player, oh hell, you can actually hear. So I'm just like, from then on, I just started doing this little bitty micro explorations of it. I started actually kind of going back and actually kind of filling in some of the holes of what I didn't, know. And of course, after that, I kind of got a big hunt on the damn freaking interwebs, trying to nail down some freaking shows for me to go check out because I wanted to see him again. But I kind of still kind of kept exploring some of the music. And of course, the more music I kind of got into, the more I was like, I want to see these girls live again. Once was not enough. Please let this cup come before my mouth and so I may drink from it again. You know? So I've been doing that for like the last 2 years, 2024, 2020, most of this year. And they announced that they were going to do a show with Halsey down in Arkansas, but they were the opening act. And I'm like, and all of a sudden I started listening to some of their new music that came off of Keep Me Fed. And I'm like, well, God, they improved so much just from the freaking Error album. Songs like Automatic Sun, More was just fantastic. First time I heard More, I have to admit, I didn't like it the first time, but I got about halfway through and I go, oh, this is fun. I don't know what the hell I didn't like this whenever, the first minute of it, but it just turned out to be so fun. I'm just like, screw it. It's a fun song. So I kind of went along with it, and lo and behold, they had this deal with Halsey, and I'm just like, yeah, but I don't really want to see them as an opener anymore because they have quite a few albums out. They got, Keep Me Fed. They got Air. They got, Queen of the Murder Scene, 21st Century Blood, and I think I can't think of the other one right now, but they got at least 4 good studio albums for them to actually draw from. And I'm just like, I don't really want to see them as an opener anymore. So I did some searching around and started seeing that they were doing another set of U.S. dates as a headliner, but it was only a limited deal to only certain cities on the East Coast. They didn't go any further west than really Minneapolis. So I went and seen them up in Chicago. And in the interim, when all this was going on, I actually started listening to the freaking album Keep Me Fed. And I realized, oh my God, this whole entire album is just nothing but good. This is like one of the few albums that I can actually listen to front to back and not have to pick up the needle and actually relocate it for any single song. There's only one song on the album that is kind of a weird song. It's called Burnout. But when you realize the song is called Burnout and what the song's about, it kind of fits the musical mood with the lyrical content. And actually, they're talking about, so it's not as upbeat, it's not, but it's still a good song. And you're just like, God, that whole entire album is good. Then I started going back and listening to Air. And you're just like, really? That album's just freaking solid all the way through. Queen of the Murder Scene, good album. 21st Century Blood, good album. There's some songs on 21st Century Blood that they actually still play live today. The song Survive came off that album, and I totally love that song. As it kind of progressed, you can actually see them getting better as they were playing it over the years. Because, you know, when you hear the studio version, it's just them with a piano and the drummer actually doing the lead vocals. Well, they kind of got rid of the piano part, and the lead vocals were done by the drummer, and she kept improving as the years gone by. And now, whenever you see it played live, you're like, oh, well, this is just funner than hell. You know, the jam at the end of it is just solid, you know. You got freaking the drummer just going crazy. You got freaking Daniela and freaking Alejandra just going crazy with the jam that they're doing. So I went and saw them in Chicago, and it was just, oh my God. The first thing I get to the show is I look at the marquee, and it's sold out. And I'm just like, oh, somebody's getting this band besides me because it's sold out. And I get in there, and it's at the Riviera Theater, and the whole entire place is just packed. And I'm like, it's still 45 minutes to showtime. And I'm like, Jesus Lord, these people are insanely in love with this band to actually sit there for, you know, the whole entire hour and 40, you know, the hour to 45 minutes, you know, packed in there like sardine cans, you know. You know, the first band was this band called Speed of Light, and I really loved their set. I think, given time, I think they may be on the same trajectory if they get lucky enough to get the support that the Warning did. And then the Warning came out, and then they just blew it up. I mean, they went up there, they just tore it up from the time 6 Feet Deep started until it was done and over. And I'm just like, wow, these girls are just phenomenal. And as somebody once said, you don't go see a Warning concert, you go see a rock movement played out in front of you live, because that's what I feel about the Warning. They're a force of rock and roll right now that's just so fresh. It just feels like every time I listen to them, it's just like, oh, okay. I feel like there's some, and it does happen to any kind of entertainment deal where there becomes a little bit of a staleness factor, you know? And you need to kind of have a new band to kind of shake things up a little bit and say, hey, look at us. We're going to do something rock and roll. It's going to be metal. It's going to be slightly different, but you're going to love it, you know? So that's what I got from the Warning, that it was just totally a little bit different thing, even though it's still rock and roll and it's still metal, but it's so good. And you play them live, you hear them live, and you're just like, good Lord, the guitar tones are just crazy. You know, the bass, you can actually hear the bass player actually play live for once. You're just like, you know, they're a three-piece, and when you got a three-piece, there's nowhere to hide. You either are good or you're not. And these girls come out every single night, and they just punish it. And you're just like, wow. So that's kind of how I got into the Warning. I don't want to get too long-winded on these deals. I'm going at about freaking 14 minutes right here. I could maybe go on a little bit. There's some stuff I may have forgot, but I think they're a good, solid band. I think people should be checking them out, and I just hope that the United States audiences. Oh, I do want to talk about one more thing, and I'll get back to what I'll come back and actually circle about what I mean to a United States audience, because that just came to my mind. They put out a live cinema thing, and I may just do another video about that after I get done with this one. And it's good. It's very good. I'll go ahead and talk about that later. But the thing about the United States thing is they're not big enough in the United States to actually give them the full arena treatment that I think they deserve, because they do have 4 albums out, and they do have enough material that they can fill a whole entire 2-hour set, you know, plus, you know, or around 2 hours actually, as a headliner in an arena. I think they're just that good. It's just that the United States market hasn't caught up to it. They do stuff in the Mexican market and around the world where they play in bigger places. I just wish that they could actually get that big enough here in the United States where I can actually do the big arena thing, but I'll get into that later. So that's how I kind of got into the warning, and I just wanted to leave you with that. And I'll go ahead and just sign off for now. Bye bye.